The next seminar is really special. It deals with my good friend and partner, Michael Joy. I can't wait to see this because Michael's background is, some people may or may not know, he's not a chef, not really, he's not a chef, you know, he doesn't even pretend to be. But his talent is finding out what chefs need to come up with something new to help make that creative and put that all together. He comes from more of an art background, and it's, again, it's with my great pleasure that I bring my friend and partner for Pastry Live, Michael Joy, out for you next time.
Here's where I start about the creativity. The basic question is, what is creativity? It's action. A lot of people have ideas, but they're not making them into action. So when I approach art, I'm looking at a simple shape and saying, how can I transform this entire meaning, or how can I tell a story? A lot of showpieces that we see in the culinary, some of them are a little bit narrative, but they're not really trying to express a point. They're trying to express what the judges are asking in the show, particularly a very strong skill set in handwork, design, composition, getting all this sort of stuff. But they don't have to just make a single piece of fine art. I think it's actually easier to make a single piece of art than a showpiece. But another big question that people ask me is, how can I be more creative? I think, how would I sum it up? I think we all have a creative spirit, and that if you're in the moment where you can be listening to yourself, like, oh, I had this idea, but you don't write it down, and then it happens the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Gradually, you're not writing things down, you're not listening to your creative spirit, and then your creative spirit kind of withers and says, well, they don't listen to me anyways, so why bother? It can also be an example of if you wake up every day and maybe your partner remembers their dreams, but you don't. Either way, if you start asking that person, do you remember your dreams from last night? And they say, no, no, no. Keep asking them every day. And all of a sudden, they're reminded and it begins to be activated. The creative spirit comes back. The other thing is to find new inspiration. You can find inspiration everywhere, but I think the chefs aren't looking deep enough. You guys are pretty busy. There's a whole thousands of years of art history. There's architecture, there's all sorts of things. I'm going to bounce through a couple things here pretty quick. We get a little wacky here when you start looking into art history. A lot of the chefs tell me, well, I like the idea of looking at old paintings and things like this, but I don't even know where to begin to search. Hopefully, you have an art friend that you can reach out to. This is Hieronymus Bosch. This is a close-up from one of his paintings, the most famous painting, Garden of Earthly Delights, from the late 1400s. Used to hang in a king's bedroom, very pious fellow, you wouldn't think so, there's the whole panel. It's quite large. And if you just kind of drill down into a picture like this, there's lots of little inspirations of composition, and it's just done for you. When I think about architecture, I'm not Googling necessarily a architect's name, although that's helpful. Be broad. Fantasy architecture. Just wait to see what comes up, because then you start tapping into these individual people who are drawing, rendering, these cartoonists, and it just goes on and on. The micro world is filled with things. You have pictures, you have microscopes, things like, who knows what this is? Anybody from Colorado? No? It's marijuana. All right, using photography again, just through a different filter. This is infrared photography. Look at how it takes the greens and really makes it into a whole nother landscape. And I think that if you begin to think of a leaf doesn't have to be green, it's simple. But if you free your mind from saying, nature has to look like nature, it doesn't. It can look how you want it to look. Mentally adapt your inspiration to the goal. Here's what I mean by that. If I'm thinking I'm going to make a showpiece, everything that I'm looking at really becomes a showpiece. This is high-speed photography, looking at a splash of colored water. Simple but elegant. It's a flower, it's a tree, I don't know. It's awesome. Mushrooms. Now I could have put a more beautiful mushroom up here, but what caught my eye about this is that most mushrooms I've seen are vertical. This horizontal composition is really, to me, refreshing that this cluster is happening a different way. Showpieces are really vertical. Maybe there's another way. Desserts come up, this, that, and the other. Sideways could be the new. Mechanical compositions, clockworks. Dig deep here. It's not that you need to copy a gear or a metal texture or things like this, but really, the natural composition of a mechanical machine has great harmony and balance. It's mechanical calligraphy is how I see it. And this can really offer some structural support ideas. So another important point with creativity is to really express your idea in a material that you can handle. There's a lot of people that have these ideas, but then they can't make it. What do you do? I mean, you have to have the skill set to make something, or you have to be able to go out and look for some help, or adapt to your own skill set. For example, I don't paint at all. I can't even say it, you know. But photo collaging, Photoshop is fantastic, and I love the library. What is it called? Library of Congress has a photographic collection of tens of thousands of images. So I'm pulling from these all the time, and my mind is just connecting shapes. I have sort of this watery blur that happens because as a mold maker, I'm not inhibited by what I can manipulate in shape. So it's just very automatic. Writers have it that are automatic. You guys look in the refrigerator, you see what ingredients there. It's automatic. You don't have to think about it. So I have a harbor plus a butterfly harbor. Very simple. I got this mysterious old man, a baobab tree. I got a woodsman. I like this idea of having kind of a spirit that protected the forest. You know. Another technique is to sketch with nature itself, physically. When I saw this, I thought, this is genius. The nature is really giving her color composition as well, just automatically at the same time. Another method to spark your creativity is to copy then transform. Copying is not bad. You can copy and be all right, but don't stop at the copy. Here's an example. Magritte. What this is, this example I'm going to show you here, is here's the original painting, the Son of Man. Here's the commercial adaptation of the Son of Man, or one of many. It's very easy to adapt. Now, that's a slight transformation. Here's a personalized transformation. This guy's got his inner freak coming out here, for sure. And what I like about this is that it's not quite the painting. However, if you don't know about Magritte's painting in the beginning, this makes absolutely no sense to you whatsoever. So, do I like this image? Not really. Does it make a point? I'll say yes. Nothing is new. You hear somebody say that? Nothing is new? Nah. No. Every day is a new day, and everything in it. When someone says something's not new, sunrise is new. This, you know, it's all new. It really is. How do you make something new? Here's one simple technique. You start by identifying all the common denominators. This Rolls Royce is a beautiful design already, but hey, they kind of got that thing under control already. So, what does this Rolls Royce have in common with most other cars? It has 4 tires. It has an engine in front. It has doors, and you just go through the list. Has a windshield, grab everything that's common, chop it, strip it. You get something else. And it's funny, remember, creativity is not practical. Well, in the fantasy design stage, it doesn't matter. There was a time when someone probably thought of this car, but they couldn't build it. Well, now they can. Of course, it doesn't take long. That timeline of not practical to production is very short. So how does this translate into food? All right. This is the latest technology in chocolate. This is not a transfer sheet. This is not airbrushing. This is not cocoa butters. This is a holograph on chocolate. They create this holograph by the way they etch the actual metal die that they cast into. The trouble is, they don't tell us a lot about it. They're perfecting this, but I think it's a pretty neat teaser of how and what's to come for the food industry. Science trickling down. It's no longer a trickle. This next picture is a little bit random, but it ties into Pastry Live. In the showpiece competition, you're going to see that the chefs have to construct from 3 platforms up. The 3 platforms were meant to sort of break up this vertical kind of bouquet showpiece. And this is an example of what I think would be a great leading sort of a composition, this fantasy piece here. It's the tripod. If I saw a showpiece like this out there today, my personal vote is going towards crazy. And I seriously wish I'd come up with this. I mean, to me, this is, I would say that's a masterpiece. I mean, just there. I had art men. I might still, who knows. Now, we laugh at this kind of creativity, which is, to me, a beautiful thing. But there's another side of creativity that gets snuffed. It's when you're in an environment that really is not filled with support, all right? I mean, you know, venom sells, negativity sells. Okay, but if you're in an environment, wherever it is, that is not going to nurture you for your creativity, exit as best you can. Bose sells headsets. I don't know. You find a way, okay? But to me, the negative art doesn't nourish me. So I change the channel. This is what I prefer. This is the other part that's just important. You cannot give up. If you have a creative goal, this is really determining. Sometimes I would want to give up. I wanted to give up on Godiva. Beatrice is like, don't give up, da 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 da. I'm like, 2 weeks, you gotta, no. All right, so this is it. The way of the squirrel. The ninja squirrel. I'm like, what are my friends at Pastry Live going to remember? I'm like, wow, let's hope it's more than the squirrel. But we have a garden out back of our office. It's a treasure. It's a tiny little pocket. And when I see these little squirrels busting into my bird feeder every day, I'm like, genius. Look at that guy. He's smarter than the last guy. This is a Facebook. Well, Biagio, for you, I couldn't just do it one. You know, when you put together a PowerPoint, it's like, oh, you start with all these things, and then something gets edited, and then, no. Don't edit the squirrel. Just don't do it. But really, this is what I believe, you know, when you really, truly desire to create something, you're going to figure out a way how to do it. And I hope you do it, because what you create, I really, really want to see. And I just hope you'll share it with us all. And this is why we have Pastry Live here. So this creative sharing happens. Everybody here is volunteering pretty much. I mean, it's a remarkable creative collaboration. This is really all I have to say today. I hope that you'll enjoy the rest of the event. I got through it in time to let some questions come forth. I know talk. It's tough to kind of keep blood circulation going, but this is where I say thank you, and this is where I ask you to ask me any questions about pictures you saw, or mold guy hay, you know, silicone. Really? Do you do that industry too? Yes, we do. They didn't get that. No, any questions? Yes, my dear. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Okay. See, look at you, remembering your marks. The Chicago School of Mold Making, people say, can I come take a class? Sorry, no. We've changed the business model. We're not teaching mold making. Really what we've evolved into over the past couple years is a creative center. We want to interact more closely with those of you who are designing products, have these competitions to do, and it's not just culinary as well, but we're working on a video series that will actually let it be more affordable, you know, not take off time and things like this. ChicagoMoldSchool.com. You guys, this is really terrific. I forget, we have hundreds of products for you. I don't like being a pitch man, but there's really some excellent tools there that will help you through the day. I do make a lot of art. MichaelJoyArt.com. There's a ton of fun stuff there. The photo collages go on. I don't know if they're all uploaded, but they are. I don't know if you're into sort of a quirkiness. They're there for you. Thank you for being gracious. Thank you.